Hey, it's your friend Cristiano, and welcome to the Queer Quest Podcast. Hello, all you fabulous souls. Join me today as I take on the challenge of feeling my inner child through the lens of their experiences. Let's see what we uncover together. If you get something out of today, which I really trust and believe that you will, I'd love for you to be able to do is to like, share, comment, subscribe, review, whatever you can do to boost this up, because someone out there needs to hear this in our community, and you doing that will boost it up so that they can see that. Appreciate you. So, as queer adults, many of us have grown up feeling like we don't quite fit into the mold that society expects us to. Now, this can lead to a disconnection from our inner child. The part of us that's actually curious, it's playful, and is seeking joy and freedom. Giving our inner child is actually crucial because it's the foundation of our self-worth, our creativity, and our ability to love and be loved. By embarking on this journey of self-discovery and healing, we can learn to accept and love ourselves for who we are. That's why it's important to really get in touch with your inner child. Now, I know that so many of us may have put that little guy or girl or however you identify into a little box and maybe locked it up a little bit because we were taught to be hyper independent. We were taught to repress our feelings. We were taught to deny our queerness. And so queer adults often face unique challenges when it comes to acknowledging and healing their and our inner child and our children, right? Societal pressures to conform to certain societal norms or standards can be overwhelming, making it difficult to confront and heal from past traumas. Many of us have had to hide or suppress parts of ourselves to fit in, leading to a fragmented sense of self. And this can result in feelings of shame, rejection, self-doubt, and disconnection from our bodies and our emotions as well. And the weight of those experiences can really be soul-crushing. So it makes it hard to know where to stand, know where to start, especially when it comes to our own healing. It's like really trying to find your way through a dense forest without a map. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough. And it might take a hell of a lot longer to get to where you need to go. So by acknowledging the pain and the trauma, we can actually begin to break free from these patterns and develop a more compassionate relationship with ourselves, which is, of course, what we're all hoping to be able to do. By connecting, by healing, by acknowledging all of the stuff that's happened to us and not denying it and just downplaying it or pretending that it didn't happen, we will be able to break free from those patterns and really step into the most authentic version of ourselves. Because our inner child is someone who really just wants to be playful. They wants to be curious. They want to be themselves, and they want to be able to be free from the constraints of society, which obviously we all know that we've had to conform to at some point in our own journey. So healing our inner child, it really takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of patience. And most of all, it really takes compassion and kindness, which is often usually one of the hardest things that we offer, finding to offer to ourselves, right? Because it really requires us to be gentle with ourselves instead of hard on ourselves and perfectionists and people pleasers. And it's about us being able to approach our own inner wounds with curiosity rather than any judgment, right? Because the more we judge, the more we struggle to really identify the truth of who we are, the essence of ourselves. And we deny our inner child the ability to play and to make mistakes and to grow and evolve. And because we're expecting that we need to be perfect all the time. Whereas for us, it'd be better to come from the lens of curiosity instead of judgment, because you can see everything through a different, different pair of eyes, and see and feel things differently when you're curious rather than judgmental. When you're judgmental, you already say that that's wrong. What are you doing is wrong. Everything about this is wrong, and you have an issue with it, right? Whereas curiosity is like, ooh, why did that happen? How did we end up here? It's completely different energy. And this process can involve a range of different practices. It might be coaching, it might be mindfulness, it might be meditation, it could be creative expression, or it could be, deep therapeutic things. There's so many things out there, and I help so many of my clients out there with stuff like this when it comes to reconnecting and healing the inner child. Because I find along this path, I really rarely met a queer person who hasn't struggled with some sort of traumatic event in their life that possibly they've been denying or repressing, because, of course, people in the queer community are taught to repress our feelings from a young age, meaning that we have been living in a world where society says this is the way and this is that you should conform to this. And anything outside of that has come through the lens of that judgment that we've been talking about, not the lens of curiosity, because it's come through judgment. And because of that judgment, the world has shaped us in a way where we go, oh, hey, me being a little bit flamboyant or me showing interest in that isn't a good thing. It's not a safe thing to do. So instead of being curious, we also come through that lens of judgment. And for us, it's about really realigning ourselves to the mindset of curiosity and being able to be compassionate with ourselves, kind with ourselves, courageous with what we need to do, and just have a lot of patience, because healing isn't a linear journey. It's an up and down thing as well. And so as we're going to be going through it, we are going to be exploring, these different kinds of methods and figuring out which one's really working best for us. Because there are so many out there and so many get us to the same result. But for each person who travels the world, especially in our queer community, one might favor the other, because again, you might be drawn to it, or it might be the one that clicks. You might have heard, or you might have done many healings in the past, or done different therapeutic, therapies. But it's really about figuring out which one is best for you, and really beginning to integrate our own fragmented selves, because that's kind of what happens. We grow up, and because we are conforming and trying to fit in and, judging and all that, we become fragmented selves. And so it's about us being able to integrate our fragmented selves, getting rid of the complex, and really just coming back to a sense of authenticity, a sense of oneness, a sense of this is who I am, and it's okay to be me fully and express that fully as well. Hey, love. While I've got you, I want to gift you with something powerful, something I wish I had when I was cracked open and crawling through the mess of heartbreak, shame, and that deep ache of, why am I like this? If you've ever felt like healing is this confusing, invisible maze where you're just surviving one emotional breakdown after another, if you've been wondering, is something wrong with me? I want you to know, you're not lost. You're not broken. You're becoming. Most queer people were never given a roadmap for healing. We were taught to hide, to perform, and to shrink. We've been gaslit by religion, erased by culture, and taught to just get over it. But healing isn't a straight line, especially when you're queer. It's not just about feeling better. It's about coming home to your queer, radiant, whole hour self. That's why I created the Journey to Queer Healing, a free guide that maps out the 18 emotional stages of queer healing. It's not just theory, it's your soul's survival map. You'll see where you are, what's next, and what's possible on the other side of the pain. This guide has helped hundreds of queer people realize it's not just me. I'm not behind. I finally understand what I'm going through. Download the guide today. Let it remind you, your healing isn't random. It's divine. Download it now via the link in the show notes. Or you can comment guide on this video or on any of my socials, and I'll send it directly to you. And when you're ready to go deeper, join us for the Queer Comeback webinar. Let's make your healing sacred and make your comeback legendary. I'll see you on the journey as well. So this might mean that you're using art or music or dancing, movement to express emotions and tell your stories. Now, it could involve you're working with a therapist or a coach who really understands queer experiences and can offer guidance and support. Again, stuff that I do for all of my clients is offering that deep level of guidance and support, relatability, and also have the tools to help them on their journey as well. One of the most, I guess, powerful ways to heal our inner child is actually by sharing our own stories and connecting with others in our community who've actually had similar experiences. I think I know from my own experience and from hearing so many of my clients' stories and their journeys that when someone else shares their experience and you can relate to it, you don't feel so alone. You feel like, wow, like all of those things that I've been feeling, they're actually normal. They're actually natural. I like going through that experience. I should be feeling the way that I felt. I should have, you know, should have those issues with those in those areas. So like identifying and normalizing the fact that you might have some trauma, you might have unresolved emotions, you might have repressed feelings that you have in your body, you might have unhelpful tools in order to cope and manage with life in general. Because doesn't it make sense that if you go through these sets of experiences, they're going to cause certain ways and patterns of behavior for you, or ways of thinking, or ways of denying, or repressing, or pushing things away. And of course, the more you do that, the more that's going to affect your inner child, you as a child. Because basically what happens is most of the traumas that we have, the major ones that cause things that, that are ongoing, especially when we talk about patterns of behavior or the way that we think or the way that we, process emotions in our nervous system, a lot of that's taught to us between the ages of 0 and 7 years of age. Of course, we go through life and there are definitely more traumas from that, but the major root causes of, say, your deep anger or your sadness or your fear or your hurt, your guilt, your shame, often comes from that very early developmental stage of 0 to 7, because that's when the brain's forming itself. And then it kind of like, if we go from being, I guess, unconscious babies and children into growing to more conscious beings. And throughout that process, that's when we can usually have a situation. And oftentimes, some of these situations may be meaningless to someone else, but they mean so much to us and hold weight in our bodies and our mind and our experiences because of us as queer people having to live in an internalized world, not feeling safe around us to truly honor and be our authentic selves as well. So again, being able to share our own stories, we can begin to process our emotions and integrate our experiences. And this can be a truly transformative experience for anyone in the queer community, because what it does, it's allowing us to develop greater self-acceptance, self-awareness, compassion. And as we heal, we become more whole, more authentic, and more at peace with who we are and in life in general. And, as I reflect on my own journey of healing my inner child, I'm reminded of the profound impact it's had on my own life. Now, I can think of a number of different instances, and one of the ones that I found the most deepest revelations from and the most healing and growth from was when I was doing a summer master NLP practitioner. And as we go through the training, we learn the tools and then we practice them on each other. And so we have to go through and be the client and the coach or the therapist, right? And so when I was going through it, I was the coach first, and I helped my friend who was also I guess the client in this situation, to really heal deeply from her wounds of stuff around sexual assault or all those things as a young child. Very deep and dark stuff as well. And so for me, I was going into it going, I wonder what I'm going to uncover here, because for her, a lot of that stuff was buried, and we had to really spend a lot of time really recognizing that she was in a safe space to really process all the stuff. Amazing breakthroughs, by the way. I'm absolutely for her. I'm so proud of her to have shifted from that point to where she is to now. What I won't. That's a story for another day. But hey, babe, quick moment before we dive back in. I have a question for your soul. Have you ever felt like you lost yourself somewhere along the way? Maybe it was the breakup that shattered you, or the years spent hiding, bending, blending just to feel safe. Or maybe it's the quiet ache that whispers there has to be more to this life than just surviving. Well, I want to invite you to something that's not just a webinar. It's a comeback, a queer one, a sacred, fabulous, F the rules kind of comeback. It's called the Queer Comeback Webinar. And inside, I'm sharing the 3 secrets every queer soul needs to know to come home to themselves, unapologetically, spiritually, powerfully. This isn't about fixing you, because you're not broken. This is about remembering who the F you are. If you're tired of dimming your light, people pleasing, or playing small just because of society's judgment, come. This is your moment. Not someday, not when, you're more ready. Now. Tap the link in the show notes, or just comment come back and I'll send you the link. Reserve your free spot now. And if you're multitasking right now, pause this video for just 1 second and do this for you. Your comeback isn't deserved, it's overdue. I'll see you there, my love. The other day. But for me, what I uncovered, because I've always felt like the outsider of my family, the lone wolf, the black sheep, the middle child, the one that was completely different. I very much was hyper independent, felt like I was taught to be that way, and didn't necessarily know where it came from. I always knew that there was part of me that felt some sort of, I guess, jealousy towards my sister, who's younger than me. I've got 2 older brothers, with boy, 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 girl. And I remember going through one of the NLP techniques, and we brought back to an unconscious memory of when my sister was born. I was only, 1.5. So at this point, I don't consciously remember it, but it made a lot of sense. So what the scenario was is when my sister was born, I had this feeling that I wasn't lovable. Now, what I internalized the story to mean is that if I was a girl, my parents wouldn't have had another child, and they wanted a girl, and so I was a disappointment, so they had another child. And so then my sister was born, and I felt in competition for my mum's attention, because my mum had, 4 kids, all within like 5, 6 years of each other. So young children, me still an infant, and then having another child. I felt I had to compete for her attention and affection. And because of, life circumstances, I didn't necessarily feel I got everything that I possibly could have needed from someone who, like, for example, if I was just one mother and it was just me, I would have had more attention. Now, I obviously don't blame my mother, but that caused some internal conflicts and issues relating to me and my family and how I saw myself in the world. And as I went through and did the healing of my inner child in those moments and said, look, I am so loved. My parents wanted me. I was able to rewrite those narratives and heal the inner child wound there as well. Being a queer person, it affected a lot, all of those stories were internalized. And then it taught me that, like I said, that I wasn't worthy. And I allowed myself to go down that path. Because again, at that young age, we can only sense things through the experiences that we're having. And like I said, it's very difficult for you to see things clearly when you're an unconscious little child or baby. And so to go through experiences like that, they can shape and mold you into having certain experiences in your adult life where they affect relationships, they affect how you see relationships, they affect how you see life and your own self-worth. And it only goes back to doing some of the inner healing work that really allows us to go on the deeper journey of, where we need to in our life. And so by confronting my wounds and really developing a more compassionate relationship with myself, I've been able to cultivate a deeper sense of self acceptance and self love. And it's had a huge impact on how I see myself now. Obviously, do know that that story has been erased. I know that I am loved. I know that my parents value me and wanted me. And I know that my sister, was very much wanted and needed as all of the kids were. Everything was chosen intently. And yes, of course, it can be hard to grow up in a bigger family, of course. But you know what? It could also be hard to grow up in a single family as well, where you're the only child. So there's so many good things that I had from my childhood that I think I was repressing and pushing away and only focusing on the negative because we do that so often, right? We see the negative and we go, okay, like this is the way it is. And we only focus on the negative. But there was so many more enriching, loving experiences that I was able to then remember and hold into my heart deeply because I was able to heal my inner child. And I could see things clearer instead of seeing it through the lens of a wounded little boy. So this journey isn't or hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it because I've learned to be kinder and more patient and more compassionate, more understanding to myself. And it's a journey, and I'm continuing to do it because I think healing our inner child is a lifelong process. There's always another layer there that you figure out, like, what is that coming from? And it always often traces back to something that's happened when I was, in those formative years, 0 to 7 years of age, or sometimes even in the subconscious that happened while you're in the womb, because you take on all of your mother's emotions while you're in the room. And so, depending on what's happened, you can take things on as well. So, there's a lot of stuff to unpack, especially if you're someone who's really gone like, okay, I do feel like I'm not in touch with my inner child, and there is something that I've been blocking or resisting or repressing or pushing away. It bubbles up and bubbles up, and it causes other issues in our body. It can cause us to be sick. It can cause us to be holding on to negativity in our nervous system. And it really doesn't necessarily do that great of thing for us. And I've come to realize that I'm not alone and that many others in this queer community are on this journey with me. So, in conclusion, healing our inner child is a vital path, vital part of our running and a vital part of our self acceptance as queer adults. And it's a journey that requires courage and kindness and compassion and understanding and accountability for yourself. And so I encourage you to take some time right now or after you finish this to really truly reflect on your own experiences throughout your lives and consider how you might begin or continue to heal your inner child. I know so many people talk about the inner child. It's literally the version of you that you're trying to save from when you were younger. When you dealt with those pain or the angst or the struggles or the heartache of growing up in a world that wasn't built for you, helping you to heal that little guy or little girl or little, whoever, they, them, of course, we're all on the same path here, but we take different routes. So allowing yourself to truly consider how you might begin to heal your inner child. And of course, if you're interested in exploring more about your own mental health and in self-care and healing and growth and transformation as a queer person, be sure to check out my other videos. And of course, if you've got some value, like I said at the beginning, like, share, subscribe, review, comment, whatever you can do to boost it so that someone else in the queer community who really needs to get in touch with their inner child can find this video and see exactly what they need to see in order for them to take the next step. And if you're someone who wants to take that next step and figure out where you are on your own queer healing journey, especially when it comes to relating to your inner child, I've got a free guide. It's called the Journey to Queer Healing. And I'll link it below here for you. You can click on it. It's a free download. There's 18 different stages that queer people go through on their healing journey. So maybe you'll be able to figure out what stage you're currently at. Might be further along than you thought, or maybe you need to do some continual work. Of course, that will be something that you can figure out. So link it below. Of course, I'm going to link to my free webinar, which is called The Queer Comeback. So if you're ready to take that step to reconnect with your inner child and to have the kind of comeback that you deserve, click on this as well. It's a free webinar, and maybe it's going to be the right thing for you. So Check out those other videos. I'd love to hear your thoughts, just your experiences, your shares in the comments below, and I'll ensure that I'll get back to every single one of you. But until next week, when I have another episode of the Clear Quest podcast, always remember that you've got this and I've got you. Bye for now. Hey, love, before you go, I need to tell you something important. You weren't meant to do this healing journey alone. You weren't meant to figure out your queer identity, your purpose, your healing, your worth in silence. So if you've been listening and thinking, I'm ready, I want to transform, I want to live fully, I just don't know how, this is your sign. This is your queer comeback. Welcome to Queer Quest Pro, a revolutionary 12-month journey of queer healing, growth, and transformation in every area of your life, from your mental and emotional health to your spiritual connection, purpose, finances, identity, relationships. This is your full circle evolution. We guide you month by month through the queer wellness wheel of life with workshops, live coaching, quests, rituals, and a global community of queer souls rising together. It's the place for woke queer humans who are ready to rise unapologetically. Because healing is hard, but healing in community, that's sacred. And baby, you deserve sacred. Are you ready to live a life that actually feels like yours? Click the link in the show notes to join us now. Doors are open. We're waiting for you inside. This is your comeback. Don't miss it.